You got it. We're on.
All right. You right to go, bro?
Yeah, good to go, brother. Whenever you are.
Okay, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA, today with Muay Thai fighter and once upon a time a MMA fighter, Jayden Eynaud. How are you, brother?
What's up, guys? How are we?
Good, man, good. Man, you're fighting out of Strikeforce gym under Too Smooth Mark Pease, man. Tell us about the gym firstly. How's it going over there?
Yeah, it's going really good. Mark Too Smooth. So I've been training there for about 6 years now, and it's just been really good. You know, consistent fights, hard training, and it's, you know, all the boys are in there working hard together. So there's just lots going on.
Nice, man. So your Muay Thai career, man, I know the numbers are going to be slightly incorrect, but from what I see, it says 45 fights, 35 wins, 18 KOs, bro. Beautiful record. You're roughly that, right? Only one or two either way.
Roughly. I'm pretty sure the fight last week was fight number 49. So
Yep.
We're somewhere around there now. I've got to work it out.
Nice, man. Anyway, man, congrats so far on your dedication to the sport, man, and achieving your goals. You've noticed you've got the WMC Cruiserweight title recently, man. Nice win, nice result from all your hard work over those years. Pretty much half your life training in combat sports, right?
That's it. Exactly half my life now, 14 years, and I'm 28. So it's been a long journey, hard work in the end. So we finally got them. We got both belts, the WMC and the WBC. So that was kind of like a goal for a long time to have both of those belts.
Nice, man. You talk a bit about your principles of hard work and consistency. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about how you've gotten to this goal?
Yeah, well, hard work and consistency kind of go hand in hand, right? Because you need both. You can't have one without the other. That's why I always preach on social media. You can be the hardest worker. If you're not consistent, you're not doing it for a long period of time, then you're not going to go anywhere. It's the same if you're consistent, you're consistently working for years and years, but you're not working very hard, you're also not going to get there. So you need both of those. And that's kind of what leads down any goal, even outside the ring and outside of fighting, you know, business, relationships, whatever.
And you mentioned, bro, that you're pumping pretty hard, like you just getting up early, training, working, sleeping a little bit late, getting up and doing it again, man. What do you fill your day with other than training? Obviously, you're training once or twice a day. What else fills in the day?
I always try and keep myself busy. I'm a personal trainer as well, so I teach Muay Thai. So I'm generally, you know, from 5 a.m. in the morning doing one-on-one sessions right through to about 9 or 10 a.m. when I train myself. And then I look after a bunch of different nightclubs, look after security teams, staff members, owners, that kind of stuff in probably 8 or 9 different nightclubs. So there's always behind-the-scenes stuff to do for that, computer work, book work, and then out on the weekends. And then apart from that, apart from the training, I try and just fill my day with either relaxing or just trying to, you know, hit the beach, try to get the beach most days for a walk, for a swim, for, you know, just a bit of a switch off. Ice baths, recovery, saunas. And that's pretty much, the days always seem to be so packed full of just some kind of work or doing something.
Yeah, man. Hey, with the security industry, are kind of interested, like people on the surface, they would think like Muay Thai is a good sort of kind of relative to security, but it is in some ways and it is in others. It's not like you can just drop elbows on people or use your spinning back fist on someone. You got to like talk more, right? So how does it relate? Does it give you any help in security being a Muay Thai fighter?
Well, it doesn't give you any, because obviously things are different. It's not the 80s anymore. It's more about how you speak and how you de-escalate situations. But I'm lucky enough now that I don't have to work in the venue, so it's more so of an office job. Just, you know, compliance, licensing, rosters, pays, all that kind of stuff. So it's a little more of a laid back job now, just sort of overseeing everything that happens and you know, that kind of thing now. But even back when I was doing that kind of stuff, it just doesn't translate into the job at all. It's how you speak, it's how you de-escalate stuff, it's how you know, identify different personality traits and kind of avoid conflicts from happening in the first place.
Yeah, man. And earlier on in your early career, you were doing wrestling and MMA. Does that translate to security a bit when you did have back in those physical sort of days?
Like it was a long time ago, and obviously that kind of stuff, talking about like restraining and holding people and kind of that kind of stuff, that would wrestling and a kind of a jiu-jitsu, that would be a little bit more applicable to that industry as opposed to striking, because obviously, Queensland and most of Australia has a no strike policy. So if you strike someone, there's really no getting out of it then. It's just not allowed at all. So whereas if you've got the wrestling background, you have to take someone to the ground, you have to kind of lock someone up. That would be more applicable than striking for sure.
Yeah. Man, jumping back to what we were just talking about. So you kicked off early days. I think you said you were 13 years old when you started some sort of training, and you kicked off into MMA and first fight at 15, pro at 17, man. You jumped into MMA, and I'm interested in how you kind of transitioned from starting out with MMA, having a few fights, and then getting over to Muay Thai.
I started training in MMA at 13, had my first fight at 15, and then MMA is one of those things where you don't fight as often. Like, you might have 2 to 3 fights a year, and there's a big build-up. Muay Thai obviously come from Thailand, a little bit. You have more fights, less of a training camp. There's less build-up, especially when you're at a lower level. So, I was only having 2 or 3 fights a year, but then there was a tournament that was just up the road. It was like a national tournament for Muay Thai, and I didn't have any fights booked at the time. I was struggling to get fights. So me and my coach said, well, let's just try it. To kickboxing Muay Thai tournament, let's have a go. And it was 2 fights over the course of 2 days on the weekend. And I ended up winning them both. And I really liked it. And that qualified me for the Australian team to go and compete and represent Australia just off those 2 fights alone and travel around. So after those fights, I went back to MMA, and then it kind of made me realise I wasn't as into it as I thought I was. I preferred Muay Thai, and I just kind of fell in love with it from there, and then just stuck with it. There was more opportunities to have more fights, to have more travel around the world with different tournaments and stuff like that, even as an amateur. So that's when I kind of made me realise I like Muay Thai a lot more than MMA, and I just stuck with it from there on.
Man, when you think about the 2 sports, like the positive for Muay Thai would be that there are more tournaments, right? Even now, there would be more Muay Thai tournaments in Australia than MMA tournaments, right? But on the other side, which one is better for like money and earnings and whatnot now? Do you ever consider like, I wish I'd taken the MMA avenue, or no?
No, I don't think that at all. I think I did quite well out of Muay Thai between fights itself, sponsors, personal training, and now I've even got the online Muay Thai business. They're all going really well. So,
nice.
People think boxing and it's such good money and it's this and it's that. And honestly, it's not. Unless you make it to the UFC, you make a name for yourself, you can promote yourself, you're winning lots of fights, you're ranked top 3 to top 5, then you might get paid fairly well. But, when you're on your way to that, you're still getting shit money. Most of these guys in the UFC, they're getting not the best money. It's not until you really make it top 5 world champion, you've been in the UFC for a while, that's when you start to get paid. So all these people who think, boxing and MMA, you should go and you should box, you should MMA, it's more money. It's not the case, not until you really, really make it. So especially now where I'm starting to travel more and I'm starting to do a little more kickboxing rather than Muay Thai, it pays fairly well. So, the money's there, and I'm not motivated too much by money in this sport. I do it because I love it. I have a lot of other things outside here, a lot of businesses, a lot of, other work that I do that brings me the money that I need. So I never really reflect on, I should have done MMA or any of that crap. It's just, I'm very happy with this decision I made, and it got me to where I am.
Yeah, nice, man. And you mentioned about traveling. Recently, you went to Russia and fought Sergey Panamarev with a split decision loss that seemed questionable from the highlights that I watched anyway.
Well, obviously, it's always going to look questionable, right? When you're looking at a highlight, because I'm only going to put the bits that make me look good up, right? It was a very close fight, but when you're fighting a Russian in Russia, it's his homeboy, it's his judges, it's his everything, you really have to put it on a dominant display if you want to get the decision. I was pretty convinced that I got the win, and even the Russians thought that I got the win. When you're looking at, we flew across the other side of Russia and we still had people coming up in the street saying, "Hey, mate, I watched it on TV, you should have run." And I've got people on messages and people going nuts. And yeah, I feel like I definitely won that fight. it was, and now that I've watched the fight back because it's on YouTube, I feel like I 100% won that fight. But you can't dwell on that shit. You know, you just got to move forward. Otherwise, you dwell on it, it ruins everything else. So I definitely feel like I won that fight, but it is what it is. Never
It is what it is.
going.
Right, man. And some of those clips that came out had Mark making some calls and you following those calls to the T. Is that a fact for you actually listening exactly to what he's saying, or is it just the fact that you guys both know each other and you're already trained in that direction? You've already got that in mind?
It's a bit of both. And I think with a coach and a student, you have to have that understanding and that trust. If my coach tells me something either in the fight or between the rounds or even in the training camp up to it, tells me to do it, I have to trust that it's going to work. And, you know, it was only up until probably a year ago that we didn't make game plans. It was kind of, he just said, go out and just be you, because that's what worked for me. And we'd adjust in the fight what was working, what wasn't. And probably about a year ago, when I first my first world title, that's when he kind of said to me, all right, we need to make a game plan. And it ended up working really well. So that's created the trust over the last year or two to start making game plans. So when you're training every day in the gym twice a day for hours and hours and hours, and whenever he said something, it worked. So, yeah, I guess that kind of just, it creates that trust between you guys. So leading up to that fight, everything we worked on, he was drilling into me in training, and then you go into the fight and he'd just yell it out, and it would just be, you know, automatic reaction to just do it because we had trained it over and over again so many times.
Yeah, that's nice, man. And traveling, you've traveled to Russia. Where else have you had a chance to travel through your fighting?
So we've been to Russia, we've been to Dubai, been to Abu Dhabi 3 times, been to America, been to Thailand 6, 7, or 8 times, twice in Malaysia, and then just all around Australia. And we're looking at a couple other ones. So, yeah. Nice.
How did Russia?
Been around. It's been good. You know.
How did Russia compare to the others, man? Was it a good place to visit?
100%. Russia is easily the most beautiful place I've been to in my life. And if it wasn't because of how cold it was, I would literally move there tomorrow. It's an amazing place, amazing people. You know, they're very passionate about their sports, where here it's all about rugby and all that kind of stuff. You might go to Europe and maybe it's all about soccer. When you go to Russia, you know, a big sport for them is kickboxing. Everyone follows it. Everyone watches it. You know, people, it's almost like you're a celebrity on the street. People will come up to you, oh, you're the kickboxer, I watched you. And that's what I love about it. You know, they're very into their sport. They support all their athletes. They put on big events. They invest a lot of money to it. You know, it's just, they're just good people. You know, they look after you. They help you out. The show itself was insane. You know, tens of thousands of people. It was just, yeah, it was unreal. So Russia, honestly, if you get a chance to go there, you have to, whether it's for a fight or not.
And was your love of Russia was it affected all by the beautiful girls that would have been around the streets and in the nightclubs and that too, bro?
How did I know you were going to say that? How do I answer this without incriminating myself? No, everyone was telling me before I went over, you know, oh, you know, Russia that has the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, well, okay, like maybe, you know, because I've never really been into that type of girl. I have my type that I do like him. But yeah, when we went over there, they are beautiful. They are insanely gorgeous, good-looking woman. And that's nice. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, bro, I just popped into my head. I don't follow. I've been overseas for too long, but I don't really follow the normal TV shows and that. And when I was trying to look up some of your history, I see you keep popping up as a bit of a TV superstar, brother, with one of the shows you're on.
Yeah, it was a show called Married at First Sight, where you married a complete stranger. The first time you see him, you marry him, and it was.
It sounds like a smart idea, bro.
Yeah, it was. It's the biggest TV show in Australia, and honestly, man, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's funny, man. Has it led to you like being a bit of a star, bro? Like walk around the streets, people recognize you more than before?
Everywhere. What, the supermarket, like a couple of days ago, I had a guy, it was a traffic lights at a red light, get out of his car, run to my car, knock on the window, ask for a photo. Like, it's pretty insane, you know, but as long as you don't let it get to your head, because you know it's only temporary, and obviously it was 6 months ago, this show was going to end. So yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but we're back to the grind now, back to working and getting after exactly what it is I've been working for.
Is there anything you can leverage from that popularity or whatever that'll help you be successful in business, etc.?
Yeah, there's obviously with the large following on Instagram now and having, I guess, being a little more well known, that can help you. But at the same time, I was already, when it comes to things like business, I've got an online business, which is an online kickboxing business, and how many people that watch maths are really going to be interested in helping that, you know what I mean? Going to coming to my business, online business, probably not much, It may help, but it probably not a lot. It's more so just me as an athlete and my hard work over the last 15 years. So,
yeah. Fair enough, man. At least hopefully you get some leverage out of it. Man,
yeah.
jumping back, I've just got a few points I wanted to cross. Like being a high level kickboxer, world champion, and I'm talk mostly with MMA fighters. Do you have interest in watching guys like Izzy and Alex Pereira in their careers, having come from a stand-up background?
Honestly, man, I don't watch a whole heap of fighting. I spend my whole life doing it. Like I train it, I fight it, I teach it, and then all day now I'm filming it. So in my only spare time, I don't really get a chance to watch it too much. But when we're talking about people like Izzy and Pereira, they're probably two of the very few people I actually like to watch just because of their style and all that kind of stuff. And then Pereira. So, yeah, apart from those two, I don't actually watch a whole heap.
Yeah, that's fair, man. And have you ever...
It's brutal to watch.
Say again?
Like when you're watching fighting, it's just brutal to watch, For me, I watch fights and I'm just like, fuck, that's brutal. Like, it's hard to watch sometimes,
And there you are knocking people out cold.
Yeah, weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird one. I know. People don't understand it.
Yeah, for sure. So, how is that online? I didn't know you had an online business in teaching teaching Muay Thai, man. How is that going? Lots of followers?
It's going good. Only just launched last week, and we've had some really good feedback of it, and it seems to be going pretty well. So it's basically just an online subscription platform where we go in and we teach tips, tricks, techniques, a whole different stuff for Muay Thai and kickboxing. We've got a strength and conditioning program, so people want to come fitter, faster, more explosive, and try and got one punch knockout power. We've got that. We've got mindset training because obviously you need to instill the right mindset if you want to be consistent and get somewhere in kickboxing or even outside the ring. And then just some, diet, nutrition resources on there as well. So it's kind of like an all-in-one hub. That's been going really well at the moment. Even though it launched last week, we've had good feedback on it. So now it's all just kind of about long-term growing it and making it sustainable.
Nice, man. I've been quietly following your career for some time, but more so following Strikeforce for many years since I was first introduced to Mark and Aaron Lee and Pixie and that over in Hong Kong, Macau, bro. But I did one session or a couple of private sessions with Mark too, and I'm impressed with the guys at the gym, and I'm impressed with you fighters. All have such a good, base. Like it's just, there's something about all the fighters that I've seen fight out there are so solid technique and a real grounding and a real balance, man, that not everyone has. Can you talk a little bit about like how Mark produces these sort of fighters or how you come to be like that?
Mark's just got a really good, I guess, hold on, like not a control, but just the way he formats his gym, the way he teaches, the way he has expectations. I don't know, just the way he runs his gym. There's no egos. That shit doesn't go. He's got everyone. We're all the same. We all help each other. And, when I've got a fight, all the boys will help me. They'll, they'll motivate me. They'll help me out with tips and tricks. They'll research my opponent as well the coaches and myself. And they'll all give their own little, tips and tricks and advice on how to approach that. They'll all either come to my fight or at least watch it online. We've got a, online gym chat that we all talk about, motivate each other and keep each other updated. Then when someone else has got a fight, we'll do the same for them. So the gym culture, it starts with gym culture. There's no that one single guy and he's the man in the gym, no egos into that bullshit. And then obviously that's where it starts. Then you've got Mark, who's just like the way his brain works to Muay Thai. He sees things, he can read things. His technique, his attention to detail is just absolutely insane. And probably I've been there for 6 years now. Probably in the last 2 years that I've really focused on technique rather than just trying to go 100%. That's when it's really kind of blowing my mind. Me and Mike have started to work together over the last couple of years on just specific techniques and refining my craft. And that's when, it's just blown my mind. That, as well as all the other trainers there. And it's just the whole gym itself is just a place for, getting as good as you can for Muay Thai.
Nice, man. And something that seems to run with a lot of the successful gyms in Australia, be it MMA or Muay Thai, is that the trainers and the guys around there are all really good at taking the piss as well, right? And I'm pretty sure Mark's like that as well.
Getting on the piss or taking the piss?
Taking the piss.
Yeah. I mean, we're all pretty serious to training and all that kind of stuff. But then, when training's over, it's like, we all take the piss. You're going to have a laugh. You got to make fun now. You got to have fun because we're doing what we've got to be able to, give each other shit and take the piss.
That's it, man. That's it, man. I heard you mention in one of your interviews about being pretty focused on goals of being successful, making money and whatnot. Out of interest, what are your sort of investment strategies, bro? Like, what are you focused on?
Man, just honestly making as much money as I can, because it's a realistic thing. There's a life after fighting, and I don't want to be that bloke who's 35 or 40 years old and still fighting, and all he has to show is some trophies and a belt. As much as I love all these other ones that I got behind me, but I want more than that. When I finish, I want to finish fighting a little bit earlier than most people, and and then have a very good life. So I want to set myself up now, build my reputation, build my businesses, my investments, work hard, save my money, invest it, buy property, buy all this kind of stuff, tighten up budgeting, not spending on shit, going on holidays, buying bags, all this kind of stuff, so that, when it's time, my time comes, I've got everything set up. I've got a really strong network of businessmen. I've got businesses set up. I've got the knowledge of how to network and how to make money. And I can just go straight into that and live a good life, because, I don't want to just live an average life and drive an average shit car 9 to 5 in an office or a job site. That's not me. I don't want that. I want to live a good life. I want to drive the fastest car, the biggest house, a boat, the most beautiful girlfriend ever. I want the top of everything. And that's not going to come if you're a fighter and you're just fighting and you're not preparing for the life after fighting. You have to set yourself up, and you have to be ready as soon as your fight career is over. Otherwise, you get to 35 or 40 and you've got no money, no job experience, no network, no knowledge, no investments, no nothing, and then you kind of just start from square one. And I don't want that. So that's why I'm always trying to level up financially. Yeah,
man, it's good that you use your motivation not just for one thing, that you're using it to set yourself up as well. It's kind of cool.
100%.
With what you said though about just saving money, man, like with the debasement of currency and everything, like saving money isn't enough. Like, you're putting into things that grow the right way. You're looking at crypto,
100%,
other investments.
100%. Yeah. Well, as you said, man, like, you can't save as fast as the rate of inflation. It's never going to happen, So the rate of inflation and tax is just going to fucking kill you. Excuse my language. So yes, looking at properties, I bought my first one 4 months ago. I'm looking to buy a second one at the start of next year. Crypto, stocks, just trying to not only make more money, but also starting to learn how to invest the money that I do have and save. So it's a learning curve for me, obviously, because I've always been the hard worker, but now I'm 28 and get a little bit older. I'm starting to transfer into that, learning how to work smarter and invest your money. So not only am I making money, but also my money's making money, and that's something I'm just only starting to learn now. It's all new to me, but it's fun and it's starting to pay off.
Awesome. That's good to hear, man. It's good to hear. So I heard your goals. You mentioned in 10 years you're going to have multiple titles, millions. You said girlfriend, then switched it over to wife and kids. So you're on the path, bro. You kicked it off. You're not too far away from that, I imagine. 10 years.
Exactly.
Like
we're on the right track there. But it's just on, as we spoke about at the start of the chat, man, it's just about consistency. You got to keep doing it day in, day out, because this stuff doesn't happen overnight, So they're the goals that I want, all the nice stuff. I want the materialistic stuff. I want the money. I want all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, it'll come.
Yeah, man. And last question, Bob, I've been asking most people, like, what tips would you have for someone that wants to be a pro fighter, how to go about it?
Where do I start? Honestly, how do you go about it? Well, I think everyone knows what they have to do. Everyone knows how to go about it. It's like me. I wouldn't have the first idea about becoming an airline pilot. But if I wanted to, I could do it. I would know exactly what I had to do. We all know what we got to do. You got to train hard, consistently for a long time. You're going to have to, eat right, sleep right, prioritize training and recovery, go to the job. We all know what we have to do. But the difference is whether or not you're going to do it, whether or not you're prepared to sacrifice all the outside noise, the partying, the girls, the guys, the bullshit, the drama, the drugs, the alcohol, all that fun stuff. Are you willing to sacrifice that to get to fight and become a world champion? Like, it all really comes down to priorities. What are you going to prioritize more? The instant gratification in your life, or what are you going to prioritize long-term things? So it really comes down to that, and that would be the question that I would advise people to ask themselves. Like, are you going to prioritize the pain and the suffering long term?
Yeah, nice, man. And just then you mentioned about like sacrificing partying and that, man. I heard you saying that a lot through interviews and stuff. And then as I was searching, I saw a clip pop up of you dancing topless in a gay bar. I was a bit confused, bro, with the message.
Where did you find that clip?
I was on YouTube, bro.
Well, is it Park? Was it with the two other girls?
Yeah, I think it was with a girl.
Yeah, I do remember that. So that was halfway through the airing of the show, the TV show that I was on, and it was just one of the nights, man. It was a couple months after I had a fight, and you were invited for a big dinner. We went out afterwards and we got a little bit silly. That would be another tip, Every so often you got to let your hair down. You got to reward yourself, and that doesn't happen very often. But when it does, apparently it gets caught on camera and posted all over the internet.
Fair enough, bro.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for your time. Wishing you best of success in reaching those goals. I think you set a good path and you got the right attitude to get it done. So look forward to seeing more of your success, eh?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, mate. I appreciate that. And it was good to have a chat with you.
Cool. Thanks, Jayden. Yeah.